All right. Well, welcome to another Run Wild with Us. Ask Us Anything. I'm Lisa Kastner. I am the founder and executive editor of Running Wild and Rise Presses. And I am here with some of my fantastic editors every Thursday, well, most Thursdays, at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time to answer any questions that you may have around the business of publishing, uh, the craft of writing. Honestly, you can ask me whatever you want. It's all good. I need to apologize. I'm so sorry that we were not here last week. I ended up with a rather severe, well, I was going to say cold, but I was raised that if you have a fever, then it's the flu. So I came down with a rather nasty case of the flu last week, and so we ended up having to cancel. So again, my sincerest apologies. That said, if you are watching this and it is between 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific time or 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, then and you want to ask me anything, please feel free to. Just go ahead and pop your questions into the comments section of whatever forum you may be actually logging into. So you are probably watching us on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or X or whatever you may want to call it. And the way this works is you just go ahead, you put your question into the comments section. I will then repeat it, and then we'll answer those questions. So this time it might just be me. We'll see. Typically, I'm joined by Ben and Peter, or Peter, or so hopefully one of our other fellow editors will join us as well. Margaret says, "Hi, Lisa. Hopefully you're feeling better." Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Honestly, I was incredibly thankful. My fever broke on Friday, and it took me a little bit after that to really recover, but it's all good. I just have the sniffles at this point. So thank you so much for your kind thoughts. Hey, Ben,
Good
how's it going,
evening.
young man?
Good to hear you're feeling better.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for the last minute uh ditch, basically.
I found something to do.
I bet you've got plenty of things to do. You're just as bad, if not worse, than me. So,
Uh, any
see,
given time.
at any given time, absolutely. CJ Grant says, "Good evening. Hope your week has been great." Thank you so much, CJ. So far, so good. I'm actually really looking forward to the weekend just because I don't know about you, Ben, but when it's a holiday week, it just seems like the days go like that. So I definitely have that feeling of like I don't know if I missed something or I am missing something. But I definitely feel like I don't quite have everything down this week. So yeah.
A 3 day weekend is always followed by a 4 day week.
That is true.
For what it's worth.
Yeah, everything kind of gets shoved into those 4 days. So absolutely. How was your week last week?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. We started up class again, and I continued editing Wretched, the novel Wretched,
Oh,
the
nice.
short story anthology, and a little bit of another novel because there was some downtime with Wretched, so I went ahead and started another one. Not very
Oh,
far, yeah.
hey,
But,
still nice.
well, it's slow going. Somehow there were 2 weeks in there where I got a month behind.
Ah.
I don't know how that works, but, but somehow
Nice.
in 2 weeks I got a month behind.
Yeah, I feel that. I just spent the last week going over contracts, signing contracts, I did finish the first round of edits to the Cure anthology, which is great. And then I started on the novella anthologies. So that's I have a lot of work to do there. Excuse me, I think I'm done all of the novels that I was supposed to edit, but I'm sure I'll be corrected. I'll have something waiting on my inbox.
Yeah.
Hey, Peter, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you two doing?
Good, Peter. How are you? Good to see you.
You too, man.
What's new and exciting, youngin?
I'm always, whenever I log in, I want to hear what you guys are talking about.
We're just talking about the fact that we're both behind. So, yeah, I don't know how that works because 1 minute I'm ahead, and then it's like a half second later, I'm like 2 months behind. Like, I don't know how that works, but yeah.
It's contagious.
Is it? Oh, that's not good.
And it's the second week of September already.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Well, I actually ended up I got one question that I've been getting a lot lately that I find kind of fascinating. And I don't know why this is like a thing now. Um, but I keep getting questions about like, are we print on demand? Which I find fascinating. And so I'm going to give the real answer, which I'm sure I'm probably going to get a lot of hate mail about, but I don't care. So the reality is, in today's market, everybody's print on demand. And how I know this is let me explain how like the larger publishers basically handle print runs, because that's the other big question I keep getting is how many books do we typically print in the first print run? Now, although I admire individuals for asking these questions, the reality is that it's much more data driven than simply saying, well, we print 1,000 books or we print 500 books or whatever. The way that the way that we handle it is we submit all of our stories, all of our novels, all of our titles to our distributor, along with a description of whatever that work is, the author's bio, and then like any kind of blurbs that we may have gotten so far for it. And then if there's any like big promotions that are going to be happening for that piece. And that sales team, our distributor's sales team, will then go out, and they, along with everything else in the catalog, will push like, hey, this is coming up to all of the libraries and booksellers and schools and you name it. And then they start having those conversations. It's usually about 6 months prior to the actual publication date. And then they start taking orders. It's usually around 6 to 9 months prior to the actual publication date. They then do an analysis. I'd say probably starting around like maybe it's usually 3 or 4 months prior to the publication date, of how many orders have been made. And they do an analysis usually it's based on what the genre is, that author's previous sales. I guess you could say like who's made the orders for that type of story before. And then they'll do a projection and say, hey, right now we're showing pre-orders like 500 pre-orders. We recommend that you have an initial print run of, let's say, like 700 or something like that, right? And then we then place that that order. Now, what happens is most publishers, they don't have a singular printer, right? Like for example, we use IPG for our printing, but IPG has an agreement with Amazon and with Ingram and with several other printers as well. So that, let's say we go to IPG and we're like, hey, we need 1,000 copies of Peter's next book. They then might turn around and say, well, we don't have the time, or we have this huge backlog of books to print. So they'll go out to there and reach out to like Ingram and Amazon and so on and say, hey, we've got this agreement. We need, can you print 200, and can you print 400, and can you print like 300 or whatever the case may be, so that you can get to that total 1,000. And it's been that way for, I want to say, at least 5 years that I'm aware of, at least with IPG. I know that like Penguin has agreements across multiple printers as well. I know Ingram has it too. And then that analysis is done on a monthly basis. So where it used to take, like to print 1,000 books, it used to take weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, now it takes days, right? So there aren't the same kind of constraints that exist in order to have a print run made. So I'm curious as to why now this is like the big question, right? Is like, what's your first print run, and how many copies do you typically have in an initial print run? Because that was not the $1 million question for a long time, and now all of a sudden it's like the question. So I wonder what made this popular. I don't know if that made any sense, but yeah. So I mean, I remember when we were kids and the big thing was like, hey, it's got a second printing, but I haven't heard that kind of thing in freaking forever. So I don't know what made this popular, but yeah, so that's the answer, is that, guys, it's not as complicated as it used to be. So you don't have to, that doesn't have to be your $1 million question when you ask a publisher about when you're negotiating with a publisher, or at least I hope not. But yeah. Oh, and then I guess hybrid is now newly popular again, where the author pays in part for the, yeah, I know, because I've had a couple of authors reach out to me that they've gotten offers from other publishers who self-identify as hybrid and expect the author to pay a certain amount up front. I don't know why that's like the new thing again, but that's also really popular yet again. So
Well, I've not heard of that, but that sounds fishy to me.
I know. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what's causing it as to be like this resurgence in popularity, but yeah, I've had a couple of authors reach out to me, just letting me know like, hey, I got this offer. Do you think I should take it? I personally think it depends on what are your personal goals, right? And like, what are your personal objectives? And you base it off of that. I wouldn't do it personally. But that's just me.
It sounds like it's self-publishing, but now the publisher has found technological ways to take care of their half. So
Mhm.
they reduce the price of the self-publishing and then call it hybrid.
Mm.
The publisher still is in it with this just as much resources as they've always had with self-publishing, but it's half price to the author now, which is a lure, a marketing hook.
Maybe. I mean, I know that there was this big resurgence in like quote unquote indie publishers. To your point, they really were self-publishers, and they were just like basically charging like $5,000 or $10,000 to the author in order to publish it. And because they could claim that, oh, we can get you on the USA Today bestseller list. Because in order to make the USA Today bestseller list, you have to sell 6,000 books. Just in case anyone didn't know that, that's the minimum, 6,000 in a week. So yeah, they'd make that claim and then, you know, kind of take it from there. So,
Well, obviously there's a market for it because it wouldn't exist if people weren't buying it, and it is, I would assume, to be lucrative because I mean it gives people who wouldn't normally pass, you know, entrance readings like with our press or other small presses, it gives them the chance to publish and say, hey, you know, I published and it didn't cost me everything. I didn't have to pay for everything. When in fact, you know, that's probably what happened is you are paying for everything.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I wouldn't do it either. I mean, but I put in the work. I put in the time. I've been doing this for 20 years and I've gone to school a couple of times, you know, it's like I paid my dues. That's where my money went. Mm-hmm. So, and I hope it pays off, paying off.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so those were the big $1 million questions that I've gotten in the last 2 weeks. But and it's funny because whenever this type of thing comes up, I'm always like, well, it depends on what your goals are. And it always feels like when someone's asking me something about this, it feels like they want me to give them like a yes or no answer. And there is no such thing as it's so complicated nowadays, right? There are so many options. You can do so many different things. And, you know, going to somebody and just saying, hey, you know, tell me what to do. You got to decide what you're going to do for yourself, you know, again, based on what your objectives are. So.
Yeah. And if your objective is to have a published book, you know, that you can give to friends or whatever, then it makes sense. You know, that's what they're, and I mean, publishing is tough. We know that. Getting published by a major publisher is very difficult. Published by us is difficult. So it's an easy route to publication than, you know, vanity, I guess.
Mm. Well, and two, you know, I think everyone sort of defines vanity and hybrid a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so like to me, like vanity is self-publishing, but you know, I've heard people reference vanity presses as more like you know, they work on a specific niche, you know, something that's like really super unique. And so it has a very specific audience. But
do either of these presses offer editing capabilities, or they just take the book and say, okay, well, take it from here to here, and here's your published novel?
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that they're assigned an editor, but that's just an assumption on my part.
Right.
You know, and in a lot of cases, or I can't say in a lot, in a couple of cases that I'm aware of, they are actually basically saying, you give us the outline and we'll write it for you. So
I've seen a couple of those go around. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's usually nonfiction.
Yeah.
So have you two been writing at all?
I've been slogging isn't the right word, but it sure feels like it. Through this novel that I've been working on, I'm just about at a page 100, and it's been taking me several weeks to get here because it's like I was saying before. I don't know if it was AI translated or translated by the author himself, but there's a lot of things that don't translate from that language, that country, into American language. So it's like I'm making edits and changes and asking questions virtually every paragraph I go. So it's like it's a buckshot on the manuscript because there's questions and this and did you mean this and what's this? What's a cool mother mean? I mean, it's just stuff that doesn't equate to what our experiences that I have to translate into. I mean, it's not exactly like translating from one language to another, like Spanish to English or whatever, but it's awful darn close because it's a very stiffly written book, and of course it's got diary of dialogue, lots and lots of dialogue, but it's very literary, so it's like there's a fine line that I'm walking on to make sure what I'm doing is making sense to the future readers, as well as keeping the plot line going and keeping the interest going, because the author has a tendency to stray and wander a bit, and he's gone omniscient in all his characters, and I don't think he really knows how to do that very well, so that's another thing I have to address with him. So it's been a challenge, a bigger challenge than I think the biggest challenge I've had since one of the first couple of books I've edited. So it's been a struggle. But
wow.
Yep.
Admittedly, one of the novellas that I'm editing, I can tell it's literal translation. So to your point, like I'm going through it and I'm there's a lot of smoothing out, and luckily I'm familiar with the sentence structure and some of the slang. I think it was originally written in Filipino in Tagalog.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with some of the slang, so I can go through and I know what questions to ask to kind of clarify it, but it's dense. It is definitely dense. So yeah. How about you, Ben?
I suddenly don't feel so all alone in the world. Because I'm probably going through one of the most dense, I don't want to say difficult, but time-consuming novels. It's based in Europe in the 40s. It's based in present day, and it's based with a storyteller that has regional cultural insights and explanations to what's going on in both places. And it's very interesting, but it's just you got to keep an eye on the flow and the confusion of where are we. But it'll, like I say, I'm not all alone in the world anymore, so it'll work out.
And I don't mean to come across like I'm dismissing the novel or saying it's not good or anything. It's very good, which is one of the reasons why I chose it. And it's got a lot of potential. I'm curious to see where it ends up. I mean, it has the potential for just a fantastic ending. So I'm hooked. So I want to see where it goes.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, and so anyone who's watching, in our model, what we do is we basically offer out to all of our editors, like, here's the books that we've acquired, and ask them if they would be interested in, editing the work. So any editor that's assigned to a book, I mean, they're picking it because they want it, right? That they're interested in the story. They want to know more. So it may sound like we're complaining. The reality is that we're like that, we picked it for a reason, so which just makes it that much more fun that we get to kind of explore the story as we're going along.
It's a nice variance, because the last novel I did was such a breeze. It was really well put together, really well written, couple notes, couple questions here, and that's about it. And then now we're in this. So it's like, okay, now we got a bigger hill to climb. It's a little bit steeper, but it's still interesting.
It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm alone in the world again, because I've had like 3 in a row that taken some time. Maybe it's me.
No, I mean, and sometimes you get into it, you get like 50 pages into it and go, oh, wow, this is much more dense than I thought it was going to be, right? I mean, it's all good. You figure it out. So, and then we've also got, we've got a couple of, we're actually now set up so that if we want, we can do giveaways on Goodreads. So, yeah, I had no idea that we had that capability. Goodreads actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you guys want to give away books?" And I was like, "Huh? We can do that?" Like I didn't know that we were allowed to do that. They were like, "Oh yeah." So we're all set up now. So we'll pick what books we want to do some giveaways in the coming months. So that should be a lot of fun. I think that was like the big thing, that we arranged so far. So
What's the process, Lisa?
so we basically go to Goodreads and give them the ISBN for. We can do it either ebook or paperback. And then we tell them the number of books that we want to give away, and then the time frame in order to do the giveaway, and then like that brief description, blah blah blah, and then we submit it, and then they basically take it from there. So it should be fun to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm actually it's funny because for years publishers, at least small publishers, couldn't do giveaways. So that was a nice surprise when they came out and said, they were like, "Hey, do you guys want to give away books?" And I was like, "Of course we want to give away books. Why are you asking?" We want as many readers as we can get. So I'm trying to think if anything else is big coming up. We're slogging right away on all our audiobooks. So we're going to have quite actually a few coming out in the coming months. So that'll be a lot of fun. And our audiobooks have been pretty decent so far through ACX. So, which is very cool. Yeah. And we have, let me see something. We currently have a backlog. So anybody who has submitted a book to us, 2 weeks ago, we went through and went through all of our titles, and we sent out acceptances for the full length works, as well as acceptances for our novellas. So I've just been like really slogging on getting that done.
What's the response rate been? Authors are excited, or?
Oh yeah. So far we've only had one person decline the offer. Let's see. Wow. Let's see. We have 66 titles that are currently active, and I'm including ones that have been assigned, like Wretched, Ben, that you were just talking about. So
really too novel.
It's really too novel.
At least.
Okay.
No, it's not.
But yeah, like we're just making it happen. So, and then we have, and if anyone is watching and you recently submitted something, we're gonna do. Let me turn new. We're gonna actually start looking at doing another acquisition round in about it's usually about 4 months from now. So, and there right now we already have 34 full length works for us to review in 4 months. So I'm guessing we're going to have a pretty robust acquisition process. So,
and Running Wild's back open?
And Running Wild is back open. And that is another question that we've been getting a lot, kind of a lot lately. If we acquire a title now, it will most likely not get published until 2025. So just to be aware.
That's still not bad.
No,
I had
that's
a-
not bad.
I had a e-novel. I waited 2 years, over 2 years to see it. It wasn't even published. It was an e-novel. Post a PDF somewhere.
I'm like, was that with us? Who was that with?
That was with Excellent Publishing in England,
Oh.
and it was the Kill Gene. It was
Oh yeah.
it was. I don't know. It may have squeaked over into novel, fast novella into novel, but it was close.
Okay.
But even that was it's a small press that you know he took his time and did it right.
Mhm.
But it was a wait. It was a test of just being patient, and I filled my time waiting. Is it today? Is it today?
Well, I have an essay about the circle. So the Lovecraftian circle will be published in Weird Tale, Weird Tales 100th anniversary book. So I had that confirmed over the weekend, that's good to go. So that'll be fun.
Very cool.
Yeah. All it is so Lovecraft just went, "Hey, you're a friend of mine. Okay, we'll publish you in Weird Tales." I mean, that's the super summary. The Lovecraftian circle. Oh, you're my buddy. I need a story for this. Okay, yeah, sure, I'll publish that. So, anyway. Well, if anyone is watching and you're wondering like who the hell are these three people? Well, we are a subset of the acquisition team for Running Wild and Rise Presses, and we are here with you on Thursdays between 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific time, or 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern time, to answer whatever kind of questions that you may have around publishing, the craft of writing, the business of writing, whatever. It can be whatever you want. What's it like to live in New Mexico? What's it like to be in Florida? Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, just pop your question into the comments section of whatever format you may be watching us in, and I'll repeat the question, and then we'll take turns responding. So, and you've only got us for 27 minutes, guys. The hour goes pretty fast, so you may want to take your opportunity while you can, because I cannot promise these two will answer.
We may not say anything.
They might just sit here and stare at their monitor like, what the hell? Why are you bothering me?
It's true.
It is true. Oh, and also, we give away a paperback of your choice to whoever it is that asks us. Well, we'll pick like the best question, and then we'll let that person know the subsequent week that they won, and then you just let me know whatever book from our catalog you'd like, and we will send it to you. As Margaret Buchanan references that. Thanks for the book. She got it yesterday, which is fantastic. So,
what book did Margaret choose? Since we're looking for things to talk about.
Margaret, what book did you choose? If you're still on. I honestly don't remember. So that's why I'm putting Margaret on the spot.
My hand is finally healing. I fixed
Oh, good.
turn signals on my motorcycle and tore the heck out of my hand, getting my hand between the tire and the fender. Not once, not twice, because if I knew what I was doing, I would have done it once. 3 times. We're fishing the wires through the fender of the bike. The first time they were crisscrossed. Then I forgot to put the nut on. Then finally I got it right, hooked them all right. Didn't work. So like, what's going on? So it's like I finally got it figured out. Bike's all put it back together again, and I'm leaving town tomorrow. So it's like that makes sense to ride for another week. So, but I'm healing, and the bike's waiting for me when I get back.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So Margaret's back. The question was, what was the book that we sent you again? What was the book that you picked? And also, did you start reading it? So those are the $1 million questions.
I need to tell the shelf.
So, of all the books that you have on, the Valley of Sage and, the Valley of Sage and Juniper, by Sage Galloway, which is a fantastic book. And I think is the audiobook out now? Let me check. I think it might be.
Did you edit that, Peter? Did you edit that?
The Valley of Sage and Juniper?
Yeah, did Peter edit it?
The audiobook is out. So, which is awesome. I don't think Peter was the editor.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Risa. It was either Risa or Amy. Yeah. And Shay is really happy with the audiobook. So I say definitely check out the audiobook, guys.
Oh, no, that's a good book. Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome book, yeah. His short story collection, Drown, is really good, too.
Oh, yeah. I love Junot Diaz. Yeah, he's pretty fantastic. I'm currently reading a classic. So, which of course I'm not going to remember what book I'm reading right now. Because I only read a couple of pages before I go to bed anyway. So, yeah.
Strangely enough, I'm reading a lot of nonfiction these days.
Really?
Because I prefer fiction, but Cormac McCarthy's last set of books, the last 2, it's just dogging me. I just can't get through it. So I got books scattered around me. Of course, I got 1,000 books behind me. I got books here, I got books in the kitchen, I got books over there. I got just wherever I'm at, and I pick up the book that I'm reading and start off from where I left off. So
there you go.
Nonfiction, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I have a bunch of nonfiction, but I'm not reading it. I'm having a hard time getting into nonfiction right now. So.
Yeah. My favorite is nonfiction that reads like fiction. That's that tight. That's that image filled. Yeah. I've read a couple of those that are just fantastic.
Oh, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
What's the? I forget the name of it.
Oh, Blade Runner. That's what I'm reading right now. Which is funny because it's like I got to a certain point and then I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember what the ending is. So, oh well.
Yeah, Persian Girls is the book I'm reading, or that I read that reads like fiction. It's a phenomenal book.
Which one is it?
Persian Girls by Nahid Rochlin.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Rachlin. It's fantastic.
What are you reading, Ben?
I've got Agatha Christie's Halloween Party downstairs.
Ah,
And
cool.
yeah, because the movie's coming out under the title "A Haunting in Venice." So I had the Halloween Party, so I picked it up because I saw the commercial for the movie. But
Okay.
upstairs, I'm reading "Custer Died for Your Sins," nonfiction, Indian Manifesto.
Okay. And how is it?
It's a classic as well. It's Vine Deloria is a native writer,
Mm.
and it's the indigenous perspective on society,
Interesting.
which it shouldn't be, but it is an eye opener.
Okay.
It's right up there with the Indigenous Peoples' History of the United States by somebody who wrote it.
That guy.
Yeah, but it just tackles the false narrative of American history that we grew up with. And they say, well, yeah, you mean that's not true? No.
Oh, there's so much bullshit. There's so much.
Yeah, I grew up with a guy who said he had the axe that George Washington used to chop down the cherry tree, but it had 3 new handles and 5 new heads. But it was the one. It was the one.
Obviously. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, and there's so much disinformation that our parents and our parents' parents spread, that, I mean, it goes back to the like, well, if you say it like it's true, then people will start believing it. And man, yeah, like there are things that were that was considered acceptable by previous generations, that if something was similar was said now, that it would shut everything down, you know. So yeah. No, well, I was going to tell you something else that I can't remember now. My personal laptop busted. The battery died. So if someone's waiting for a response from me from someplace, I apologize. I'll get my laptop back tomorrow. So, and I think the next I might be speaking at the Los Angeles Comic-Con. I submitted a couple of panels to it. And I mean, I've spoken at LA Comic-Con a couple years in a row, so we'll see. I mean, these aren't new panels, so I wouldn't be surprised if they turned it down. But on the other hand, I wouldn't be surprised if they accepted it too, because some of them were popular. But we'll see. See what happens. Are you guys speaking at any conferences coming up?
No.
No.
I have a reading on Veterans Day in Placitas, New Mexico.
Cool.
at the library. It's a reading out of an anthology. It's the same reading we read out of in Santa Fe a couple of weeks ago.
Got it.
We're getting the band back together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was an interesting collection, because it was some old Vietnamers and some people in between, and then me.
Okay. Well, I'll be speaking at Drexel University's MFA program in October. So I think it's like in the second week of October. So that should be fun. So I think that's the next thing I'm talking at or speaking at. I haven't done a reading in so damn long. I don't even remember the last time I did a reading.
It was fun. It was there were, like I said, a group of us. So in the hour we all had about 7 minutes to
Oh wow, that's a
read
good
it.
amount of time.
Yeah. That was about I came in with maybe 4 or 5 poems.
Oh,
And
okay.
there was some prose and some and some nonfiction.
Mm.
Some
Well,
nonfiction memoir type stuff.
I'm gonna go to Cass Warner's book signing on September 22nd at 3:00. So if anybody's in the Los Angeles area or Burbank, go definitely stop by, say hi. It's going to be at the Warner Brothers Studios tour building. So in their retail store, she'll be signing the Brothers Warner and All About Harry. So that should also be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. So.
Question from Margaret, Lisa.
Ooh, what type of manuscripts are you looking for now? What genres are trending?
Good ones.
I'm punting to these two.
What's trending for me is what's in the slush pile. So what I can find that I enjoy, and there's no real set genre that I go with. Just I see what's coming along and see which ones I like.
In the last rounds, of course, they were Rise stories, but we had more science fiction, I think, submitted this time around.
Yeah.
And not that it was, not that it was trending, but that's what we had submitted. And I think we chose one or two. I remember the space brooms. That was hopefully that's not the one that turned us down, but it was an interesting science fiction because it had a twist to it that wasn't necessarily done before, with a Hispanic flavor.
There weren't many memoirs this time around either. A couple, but not a lot.
Not like we've had, yeah.
That's true. Space brooms. Let's see. She's still reviewing the contract.
Whoops. It's not trending at all.
Yeah, I guess not. Well, I mean, that's her choice. We did have a couple where they just didn't get back to us. Like I just kept reaching out to them, just asking like, do you have any questions? Do you want to chat? That kind of thing. We've actually lately we've been getting more authors who they were with a different small publisher, and they want to leave their small publisher, and they're asking us if we'll pick up their backlog of stories. Like they want to move their whole catalog over to us. And I mean, as long as contractually they're okay to do it, what I've been telling them is, I mean, we make those kinds of decisions as a team. So I just asked them to submit it through Submittable, and just note that, we're looking to publish some of their other works, and they'd like to have us publish their whole catalog, and then we'll review it in our next iteration. So, I mean, and we've done it before. We've published we've picked up other novels by authors that like it got discontinued or it's not being printed anymore by a different publisher. So we've done it, and we continue to do it, but it's not a Lisa decision. It's our acquisition team's decision. So and then what type of manuscripts are we looking for? What genres are trending? Honestly, I'm just looking for a great story. So I'm not I mean, I kind of grew up reading everything, and so I'm not against any genre. I'm not against any form. Um, and I think a lot of times too, some of our acquisition team there'll be a story that's brought forward that it actually needs a lot of work, but there's a lot of potential in it. So when we do meet as a team, we'll just sit down and say, hey, this is why I really like it, or I'm into it, and why I think we should pick it up, and we'll make a decision based on that. And we always, I mean, I call it cross genre. I guess technically speaking, it's commercial literary, meaning almost everything we publish touches multiple genres. And then like what genres are trending? That's actually a really good question. I don't know. I don't notice necessarily that there's genres that are trending in terms of what's being submitted to us. It's more like there are different craft elements or structures that trend. Like we went through a period where there was a lot of second person narratives that we were getting. That doesn't mean that they worked. It just means that we were getting second person narratives. So like you can kind of tell based on like those types of things what might be really popular in like the bestseller lists, or maybe like what's trending in terms of like at MFA programs and such, the different elements of craft that individuals are having fun playing with. Yeah, a lot of unreliable narrator. We had a lot of that this time around. And what's interesting too is I think sometimes people forget, like, if you're writing from a specific perspective, then there are certain insights that can't be provided because it doesn't work from that point of view. And that's something that we oftentimes have to kind of just ask the author leading questions to kind of get them to actively think about, like, is there any way this character would actually know this, right? And if not, then what would they know, and how would this transpire? So I'm looking at the submissions we have right now. And we honestly, I'm really I feel like we're really blessed in that we get a lot of authors who repeatedly come back to us, submitting us their works. I mean, I think that really speaks highly of our editors and our process, and how we really partner, and that's really the feedback that we get, or that I get a lot of times, is you know authors will select to work with us because they feel like, I think, Ben, you may have referenced the white glove treatment, right? Like, we just we treat you like you're a part of our family, right? And we want to make sure that that the story that's actually makes it out to the market is of the top quality. So you know it's that intimacy, it's being basically being brought in as part of the family. Oftentimes that's why people elect they want to publish with us. So
we'll see it a lot with novels, but even more so with short stories. I see the same authors submitting, and multiple submissions from the same authors. But I think in this round, I noticed in the cover letters that we're attracting a lot of authors who identify with having works that don't fit someplace else, because they'll mention that and say, it's good to hear Running Wild Press likes work that doesn't fit somewhere else, because here you go. But,
Boom.
yeah, but that just means they're reading about us, and they're hearing about us, and the mission is pulling that type of author in.
That's true. And I'm seeing a lot more submissions where the comparables they're listing are actually titles that we published. And like they're talking about, in their cover letter, how they're a big fan of like Curtis Smith, or they're a big fan of like Dwight Wilson. And how we were, in some cases, we're the only publisher that they submitted to, but it's because they're such fans of the other works that we've printed. So and for those who may not be aware, we are actually now refocusing our model so that we're actively seeking to do paperback, audio, and ebook all at the same time. Just because, well, for lots of reasons. But so you should notice a trend that among the books that we're publishing in the coming years, that we're doing that. So, and then we're also going to be any titles that we haven't actually made into an audiobook. You should start seeing those coming out in the next like 6 to 12 months. So, which is very, very cool. I'm very excited about that. It's a lot of fun. And with that, we only have 3 minutes left, guys. And I'm telling you right now, Margaret's going to win the next paperback because she's the only one. Well, okay, Margaret and CJ.
And she has 2, just to make sure.
Yeah, she did. So I don't know, Ben, Peter, you guys have anything cool coming up in the next week?
I'm heading out to Colorado, so that's gonna be nice. Seeing family, go hiking, change of pace, get away from this Florida heat. Actually, wear long pants for a little while. So looking forward to that.
Nice. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
North or south of Denver?
North, Breckenridge, Dillon area.
Okay.
How about you, Ben? What's exciting going on in your world?
Back in teaching mode, and working out a new semester schedule. But
Summer's over, huh?
Summer's over. I'm not even sure where it went, but I don't know when it began, but it's over.
There you go.
But a couple of collections coming. I'm only about 7 or 8, maybe 9 or 10 collections behind in typing. They're laying here on the floor.
I feel you. I feel you on that.
At least I write them.
Yeah, I need to knock out the 2 novella anthologies for Rise and for Running Wild, then I can refocus on. I think I can. Yeah, I'm like, because I finished the Cure anthology.
Yeah.
Now I have the Rise and Running Wild novella anthologies, and then once I'm done that, then I can go and work on another full-length piece. So.
And those novella anthologies take a lot out of you. It's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, and because I'm just such the genius, we accepted something insane like 11 novellas. Oof. Yeah, so this may end up being a 3-booker for Running Wild. And then Rise, we had 4 or 5 novellas that were accepted. So Yeah, I clearly enjoy pain because it's a lot of work. So it's well worth it, but it's a lot of work.
That's
So
why I take the short story anthology so they don't get caught standing around not doing anything to get the novella anthology.
there you go. That's fine.
No, I'm busy.
It's all good. Well, with that, we are at the top of the hour or end of the hour, depending on how you're viewing it. And so I want to again thank Margaret, thank CJ, thank everybody who's watched. And thank you, Ben and Peter, as well, as always. And guys, if you're watching this and it's the recording, just go ahead, put your questions in the comments section, and we'll be sure to respond to them next week. With that, have a fabulous week, and we will see you guys next time. Ciao.